Hi, and welcome to That's Entertainment. All the entertainment news from last week reported on this week. Obviously, everyone in the industry is looking forward to getting back to work and the end of these lockdowns. There's some rumors circulating the lockdowns might be extending past February now. We're seeing, unfortunately, pretty much every single major studio release from Hollywood being pulled back until later in the year. As predicted, No Time to Die, which was supposed to release in April 2nd, was moved back to October 8th. And the studio also moved Bob Odenkirk's crime drama Trouble to the April 2nd slot. And Universal also moved Tom Hanks' sci-fi drama Bios from April 16th to August 13th. Paramount moved A Quiet Place from April to September, and Disney moved all its former Fox titles, the biggest being The Kingsman, from March 12th to August 20th. The animated TV show Bob's Burgers is the only one not given a new release date, and there's predictions that that'll release via Hulu and Disney Plus is now a possibility. And Sony Pictures' 5 titles, including the live-action Cinderella, has been pushed back from February 5th into July 16th, and Peter Rabbit 2 from April 2nd to June 2nd. This domino effect is pushing other Sony titles back further, including Ghostbusters Afterlife, now due in November. So some pretty depressing news from, what we were all looking for, these big movies that are actually releasing and now being pushed back. There could be something with the way that Warner is approaching the market through this idea of simultaneous release, because it's actually becoming really apparent now that the cinemas need premium content in order to drive audiences in there. And the studios, conversely, have to balance the opening of cinemas around the world with the way that they can release their films. So I wouldn't be surprised now if we see more of this approach from the studios approaching the market in the same way that Warner Brothers did with all their releases, including Wonder Woman 1984. The only significant studio titles that will be looking to release in the US market in February and March will be Warner Brothers' Tom and Jerry, Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon, and Godzilla vs. Kong, which is now scheduled for a 26th of March release. So this strategy does seem to be playing out now. But again, we have to caveat this with the impact on piracy. As we saw from both Mulan and Wonder Woman 1984, digital pirated copies became available worldwide the day of release for each of these films. And this potentially will have a direct impact on the film's potential box office numbers overseas. I think the key question on everyone's lips right now is, will the release of the many independent movies, particularly this clog of films that have been kept back from releasing over the winter period, be enough to stimulate both cinemas to reopen during this questionable phase? And will the films on offer also be strong enough to draw audiences into going to the cinemas as opposed to viewing the films potentially at home? A lot of the questions are up in the air right now because of the resurgence of COVID. I think it's an important signal from the US market right now, as New York, California, and Chicago all seem to be in the process of opening up. And I think that that's an important indicator for the market and should provide confidence for Europe as well. Now moving into streaming news, the US Consumer Technology Association made some upbeat predictions this week. The US spending on streaming subscriptions could reach $41 billion over the course of this year, and retail sales for the technology industry could climb as high as $461 billion, driven by Microsoft and Sony's latest gaming consoles and the appeal of streaming services, 5G connectivity, and health monitoring devices. So the tech sector is exploding. According to a piece in Variety, research conducted by J.D. Power revealed that US consumers pay upwards of $47 per month for streaming services. That's up from 24% from last April. And that 49% of US households now subscribe to 4 or more streaming services, up from 39% at the same period last year. 13% said that they use as many as 7 or more services. So, our original question back over the Christmas period, where we were looking at the number of subscriptions that the average user had, the research seemed to say that the average user had 3 to 4, seems to indicate that people are prepared to take more subscription services on with the greater variety. How long that continues, or if that rate continues to expand, that is a major question in the industry right now. Also, last week, Netflix announced its quarterly letter to shareholders. They now have 200 million subscribers. Netflix added 8.5 million new subscribers to their platform in Q4 of 2020 to reach a total of 203.7 million subscribers worldwide. And they expect to be cash flow positive within a year. A lot depends on how much they have to blow on their production budgets in order to compete with the other studios now releasing their own streaming platforms themselves. That'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. How profitable will they be? However, Deadline dug a little deeper into the newsletter and revealed that although Netflix's numbers grew in US and Canada and Asia Pacific, the case wasn't global, meaning that there were other territories where other things went on. They actually slowed in EMEA, or Europe. Subscriptions rose by 29% in 2020, but down from 37% from the year before. And to quote the Deadline report, have we hit peak Netflix in some international territories? A different piece of research from Mofet Nathan revealed this week that 62% of Apple TV's subscribers are actually watching for free as part of Apple's promo offer that gives free access to buyers of their products and hardware. Of those 62% users, almost half don't plan to resubscribe once their free offer finishes in July. By comparison, only 16% of Disney Plus's US subscribers currently have free access. This is part of a promotion through Verizon. And around half of them said that they plan to pay for their subscription once the free offer expires. Disney Plus are running similar promotions in Indonesia. Their partnership with the leading telco there has given them the market lead. Disney now at number 1 with 2.5 million subscribers, and Netflix are in 4th place behind 2 local rivals at 850,000 subscribers. According to the report from the local consultancy MPA, these numbers seem likely to increase significantly, with just 3% of Indonesia's population currently signed up to an SVOD service. So massive potential gains. Obviously, the business model is going to have to change over there to a certain extent. Not everyone has access to a credit card in these markets, but there are plenty of mobile pay options out there, which got technically going in the third world with systems like M-Pesa, or as we now have in Denmark, mobile pay. So we have leapfrogged past the requirements in certain markets for some of the payment options that we are familiar with in the West. I think the key question in the market is, will the level of subscriptions that we've mentioned previously maintain in the market, or will they increase? I think another key question is this idea of user acquisition. As we are tapping out on the world's leading markets now, US and Europe are pretty much saturated with streaming services, and this is a strong foothold for the likes of Netflix and HBO and Disney Plus now. What about the other markets worldwide? Which are going to be the fast growth movers there, and how will the conditions for things like payment alter that user acquisition model that these companies are so used to in established markets like the US? That's the show for this week. At the beginning of February, we'll be launching the first in a series of really exciting webinars. I'm really looking forward to this. The title of the webinar is The Future of Film Distribution and VOD. It's part of the Audience Project, which is our system for buying media, but it's also a useful title for this concept of where we're trying to get different sides of the industry to sit down now and figure out the future. Do join us for that event. We've got a really exciting panel from across Scandinavia. And of course, as soon as we finish that event, we'll be looking to replicate the same thing across Europe and the USA as well. I think this is a very important time to get the industry sitting down and talking to each other. Communication is so important when exploring new ideas or business models. And we really feel that this is a key for unlocking where we work or how we work as an industry moving forwards. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.